The Fender Jazzmaster versus
the Jaguar. The Jaguar.
Taekwondo. Who's going to win? Well, we're just talking about which one's right for you, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me, Baxter.
And Jonathan.
Fender Jazzmaster.
Or Fender Jaguar.
These are two iconically fabulous offset guitars. The most fabulous of the offset guitars, probably of all offset guitars. The ones we know, the ones we copy, the ones we love.
It's true.
From the most devout jazz players to the world of indie rock. That's where these guitars have found homes all over the place. So they start off as jazz guitars. Well, the Jazzmaster did. 1958 is the year that this was brought to us by the mastermind of Leo Fender. To kind of get rid of that pesky Stratocaster.
The evolution of the Strat.
It's over. Wait, we were talking about, wouldn't that have been funny if they stopped the Strat right there, like Les Paul did?
Like Les Paul, like, we're going to make this SG looking thing.
No more Gibson Les Pauls.
Yeah. It's kind of hilarious.
Well, Fender could have done that. It's like, all right, Strats are gone until like 61. They're like, crap. And then Leo's going to sell his guitar a few years later. So 1958, the Jazzmaster comes out to the great dropping of a thud to the jazz community because they didn't really like it. But man, that guitar is cool.
It is cool.
So these are both offset. When we say offset, what that means is, the body is sort of cut here.
So somebody squished it.
And they moved this away. So they fit comfortably, they fit well. So a lot of folks don't know that. They're like,
they do actually fit really comfortably.
They're the best sit-down guitars, and they were designed to be sat down in some ways. The Jaguar now comes out in the year of 1962.
Space
age, futuristic. It's also offset. Comes out originally in its sunburst finish, as everything did with Fender. And then the funky colors followed soon after. But this was on the heels of the great surf rock invasion. Ooh. So it had all sorts of stuff. This was the Cadillac. Chrome everywhere.
There's a lot of chrome.
Fancy little pickups with chrome on them, too.
Little switches.
There's something different about this guitar, though. Something radically different with that neck. What could it be?
It's short.
It's a short and stout neck.
Squish it.
It's a short scale instrument. So this is really the first of Fender's foray into short scale. Besides like their weird little electric ukuleles that might exist out there in the universe somewhere. That you find.
Different thing.
Or their lap steels. That's just a block of wood with strings and magnets on them. No, so these two guitars are the most important of the offset guitars of what people sort of choose. And it's a weird choice. If you're sitting there trying to decide and you've never played one before and you're buying one on the internet, it is tricky. Now, I think most folks are going to err on the side of the Jazzmaster with their first purchase of an offset. It seems safer.
I think so.
The pickups look super cool.
They do. And you're like, oh, P90s. But they're not.
These are not. These are the old classic soap bars. So what? These pickups are not P90s at all.
No.
They're pretty much like just overwound single coils.
Pretty much. Which I mean, a P90 is a single coil too. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's definitely not P90.
No.
It interacts very differently. It's not going to interact exactly how you think it's going to usually either. I find the neck pickup has a nice sort of warm, spanky sound to it. Mm-hmm. Not warm like a Les Paul by any stretch or a Gibson Jazz type of thing, which is why it might have failed with the jazz players. But it has a very much brighter bridge pickup than you would expect.
And I like the tone of Jazzmaster. I can remember, I don't have too many memories like this. I remember the first time I played a Jazzmaster in a Guitar Center, like in the early 2000s. And I thought,
it's pretty rad.
Wow, this is.
I just vaguely remember the first time I played one too. When you were saying that, it's weird.
I was like, "Damn, this is cool.
This is so different. It's so different."
And I was playing Stratty stuff on it because that's all I could play. But no, I just remember having a cool tone that was it was not what I was used to.
It plays and feels a lot like what you know from Fender already. Yeah. It's just a bigger sort of massive body feel to it. It has the jazz circuit on it as well. The Jaguar is also going to have that, where it just sort of cuts the tone path, and then you get like a darker tone where your rollers become your volume and your tone, and it sort of disengages the original volume and tone.
Yep.
That's part of the standard switching there. Now we jump to the Jaguar. Its switching is an entirely different beast.
It's a little more complicated.
You got 3 little switches. What do? Who really knows?
No one cares. No one's ever answered that.
It turns your pickups on and off. It has a different active switch as well, not active within the battery, but it changes your tonalities of your pickups as well. It's confusing.
You use like a cool little kill switch, which you can do that on the Jazzmaster too. But
Yeah, but you can. But that's the Jazz. I'm thinking, but even with the pickups down there,
where you can have one totally off.
Yeah, you can,
and then switch. Yeah,
it totally messes you up when you're first playing one. If you've never played one, you're like, what pickup am I on? And you can tell really quickly. Now those are single coil Jaguar pickups.
Yeah,
I
love the way those sound. In fact, I might like them more than the Jazzmaster.
I hate that you're saying that because I used to think you're crazy, and there's part of me that likes the Jaguar pickup better than a lot of other pickups too now. I really like the Jaguar pickups. Now, what would keep you away from a Jaguar?
I hate the short scale. Hate's a strong word. So I'm saying this from experience because one of the first guitars I ever gigged with a ton was a Jaguar.
Why?
I don't know. Well, I do know. I got it I bartered for it.
Okay.
So it was a convenience thing, and I thought it looked cool, and I loved the body, and it was comfortable, and it was kind of like a bigger body, so I thought it looked cool on me. But I didn't know when I got it that it was a 24-inch scale. I mean, obviously I felt it, and it was slinky, but then I realized, hey, you get up past the 12th fret, it gets buzzy, things are weird. Some people put like the buzz stop thing on. That's a thing. And I remember going down the rabbit hole of that, and they're like, well, but if you put the buzz stop on, it stops sounding Jaguar-y, and I don't know. I always had a love-hate.
See, and I don't really dislike that short scale. I thought I would more than I actually like it because maybe. But this is back when you were playing. It was like your primary guitar.
It was my
this ain't gonna
guitar.
work for me.
Right.
It wouldn't be my primary probably in a short scale.
I would love to have one now, just that I played for certain things. But it was my main guitar.
I mean, dear old Sean doesn't have one, but he's in the will for one of our friends named Randy, and so we're all wishing that Randy lasts a long time. Sean's sort of rolling the opposite on the Ouija board. He's like, Randy is the pilot.
Like, Randy is great. Best to go out now on top.
Yeah, just don't take the guitar with you. It's a shell pink Jaguar though. It's gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
That would be pretty sweet.
That's a fantasy guitar. It's that's one that I think I spec'd out with my wife for the shop. We were doing a fantasy Jaguar. We don't do fantasy football here. We do fantasy Jaguar.
Fantasy guitar builds.
Fantasy offsets. No, I find that it makes me play a little differently.
Sure.
I like the sort of different feel to it because as a guitar player, I play a lot of guitars and I have a lot of guitars. It's inspiring for me to have something different.
It's sort of like the other end of the baritone, right? Baritone obviously makes you play different.
Yeah, the baritone's like a whole other thing. The baritone
does the same thing.
Makes me feel like I'm just gonna golly, what's the attractive actor from El Mariachi from the 90s? Married Melanie Griffith. I just went blank. Help me out there. Anyway, I imagine I'm him for a little bit. Or the modern version, the cool guy, also. Can't remember if he's from Javier Bardem is the other guy I'm thinking about. I like to imagine him like in No Country for Old Men walking around with my little cattle prop machine for the baritone. But when I play the Jaguar, I feel much more like I'm Legolas.
Okay.
I'm an elf.
Okay.
I'm dancing along, like I'm skating along. It plays differently, but the sound of those pickups are so good. It looks
the pickups are really good.
I like it. But if I had to choose between one, it used to always be a Jazzmaster.
I thought this for a long time.
And then now, like the Jaguar, it's really 50-50 for, I think, me at this point.
I think, again, if I get to keep all my other guitars, it's Jaguar. But if it's like, you got to play this as more of a main thing, it probably
just because you're used to that, yeah.
Just totally from feel, you know what I mean? And I like the Jazzmaster tone too. I just think that maybe the Jaguar thing is cooler. I feel like the Chris Stapleton has made a Jazzmaster explosion lately. I mean, there's
really
been other people.
He's a Jazzmaster.
It is funny, right?
That doesn't make any sense to me.
But
no, they're both wonderful guitars, and they deserve a place in your arsenal. I'd say both of them do. If you have the space and the funds, but if you're getting them, get the real ones. And I'm not saying like you don't. It can be off Fender if you want to, but get a Jaguar with Jaguar type pickups. Get a Jazzmaster with Jazzmaster. Yeah. Fender makes Jazzmasters with the humbuckers. You're not really getting the Jazzmaster experience there.
You're basically getting a guitar that looks like that shape.
Jazzmaster Offset, or getting the EMGs in it or something, or like it's experience those pickups. It makes you play differently.
I thought the Johnny Marr Jaguars were pretty fantastic.
He has a different switching. He has a toggle switch.
Yeah.
Which is a regular, just a regular 3-way, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks great. The Johnny Marrs are great. So if you have a Johnny Marr, hats off to you. One of my favorite guitars Fender makes. Yeah. The last batch we got on those, we got like 4 in at one time. We ordered those 2.5 years before we got them. It was like before the pandemic hit, and then we got them like well out. They all sold because they're all awesome.
They were awesome. It kind of amazes me as we're saying this that there is no Chris Stapleton Jazzmaster.
Is Chris Stapleton a musician?
Yes, he is.
I was kidding.
It'd be funny if he just like sold staplers. Stapleton. My family invented the stapler. No,
that's really cute.
That'd be really fun. I mean, there's the Chris Stapleton amp, but which is
a great amp.
It is a great amp.
It's sort of it's one little thing it does really well. A great amp. No, so again, like back to Jazzmaster and Jaguars, like you really can't go wrong with either one. But just I wasn't even aware of the short scale before I played my first one. I was just like, oh, something feels different. And I didn't know until like years later. I was like, that was a really cool feeling guitar. It was so easy to play.
Well, and it does feel like that, like I said, until you get into the higher register. If you don't care about being in the higher register, I don't see a downside at all.
No, and if you're not doing tons of bending on like a vintage spec one, like a 7/4 radius,
right.
It's they really play out well because most are 9.5 inch now, like the Johnny Marrs and custom shops.
Guitars like that make you play more kind of chordy, I think are fun. You know what I mean? That you're not just gonna always go.
I think of Johnny Marr type of like lead work too. He does lots of cool high stuff from the Smiths to his solo work, but it's very much like single note things that he's hitting and he moves. He's not doing tons of bends all over it. He creates these cool phrasings. I love Johnny Marr though. So I could do a whole video on Johnny Marr. Jonathan doesn't know him.
Maybe we should. Who?
What? He was with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
That's the lie.
He did all the
slides.
That's
not
all the
true.
slide work for them.
My God.
He's with the Smiths and Johnny Marr and other things. He's played on some of my favorite Oasis tracks too.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Noel Gallagher, I was just reading about Noel Gallagher. He was like, if there was like a Beatles supergroup that was put together, he was like, I would pay millions to be in that. But I was like, I don't know if you're as good as George Harrison. That's the only problem. George is really good, but I love Noel. Noel's like my favorite, so it's another story. No, it's just it really is the scale of is the major difference in the pickups.
Yeah,
and they're switching, so it's tricky. If you want to have something different with a sort of the Jaguar has a nice cutting sound.
Yes,
like it really breaks up great. That
I was gonna say, I thought that was kind of like you had a rock and roll kind of thing. You know,
it really rocks in a clean amp. Like you're playing a Bassman, you can rock on a Jaguar. You don't even have to use pedals. You can just like a nice clean amp, just turn it up. That it drives the amp and drives that tone. The Jazzmaster doesn't do it the same way. No, but it's got this great sort of that neck pick. It's got this great, I don't know. It's, again, a percussive, warmer thwack to it, without being like at all muffly. It's definitely
very descriptive.
Percussive
good descriptions.
Thwack with some warmth to it.
Thwack.
Percussive thwack. I like to say thwack over and over.
I'm going to say that all day long now.
No, but I do. I highly recommend trying one.
Yeah,
or just buying one. Just get one.
Just go for it. It's fine.
I mean, that's what I did with my Jazzmaster I bought, and I did eventually change the bridge on it though, because those bridges can be a little bit problematic sometimes with all the grooves. That's the only thumbs down thing on them.
True,
but otherwise I love it.
Yeah,
I got mine from Wildwood.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. It was one of the thin skins they had.
I bartered mine from my friend Jimmy. It was awesome, but we bartered all sorts of things. I got a 59 tweed Bassman from him too.
God, mine was one of those late night things where I had it in my cart, for like a week. And I'd take it out, I'd put it back in. I'd take it out, put it back in. I was like late night one night, like at like 12:30.
Just do it.
Then I just did it myself. I wasn't drunk because I don't drink by myself. That's a little weird, I think. And then I just for me, it'd be weird. I wouldn't know which websites to go to. Then I click buy. And it was great. I got it, and I've had it for years now. God, a long time.
Pretty cool.
It's fun. It's good. So I do the drunk buys too. Normally I call the shop if I want to buy it. Like, so I'll call Steve or Troy or Lance or Bruce or any of those crazy guys over there.
The people.
That's what I do. That's what you do. Anyway, I'm gonna leave now. That's it. Go have fun. Buy yourself a Fender Jaguar or Jazzmaster.
Some sort of offset.
Get one. Live with it. Let it doesn't fall from you.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it, or you'll hate it.
And you'll sell it. It's fine.
Buy
fine. Another Strat. It's cool.
You'll be back to Telly's. So boring. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the old bell.
Peace be with all of you, and to all a good night.